Hi, welcome everybody. Are you hear me? Hear me clearly? Okay, so welcome to Metadata for Dollars. So glad to be here. So glad to be on this really fantastic conference. I've been watching the stuff for the last day and to this morning, which was really good. Karen started with the fire, and then Marte and his team, really good information there. So today, my panel is going to be focusing on the wonderful world of metadata and how this mechanism that the music industry uses to track revenue and track data and trends and all this kind of stuff, how this impacts you as a creator, as an artist, right? So I want to bring in my other panelists. I'm not seeing anybody else, Melissa. If everybody can come in, okay. Hi, Audrey. Hi, Cleon.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
Waiting for Chester and Sonia. Let's see if they can come in there. Okay, there you are. Chester. Okay, all right. Okay, so we have a wonderful panel here, and we're going to get started. So the first question is going to go to Audrey. Audrey Gray is the CEO of GMIA London, the Gospel Music Industry Alliance London. So Audrey, I just want to kick off by asking you, as a CEO of GMIA in London, what are some of the things that you're doing or you could do to encourage and streamline the capture of metadata? And then saying that, what is the value of what you're doing or what you're implementing?
Hi, Keith. Hi, panel. Nice to be on board. Yeah. In terms of metadata, I think a lot of artists in the UK are still clicking onto metadata, so it's a really good thing that it's come to light. And at GMIA, we are directing people to the relevant PROs and mechanical licensing personnel, etc., to make sure that they're already registered into a system, and then redirecting them to persons like yourself to analyze what they are doing with their metadata, or if they even know about it. So we've had a row of workshops, but we're also directing them to metadata personnel and publishing personnel that work in that sphere, and really sort of instilling the value of metadata for artists. Particularly, I mean, I've worked with lots of artists that I've had to transport or tour from the Caribbean to the UK, etc. And I do get asked, is it worth me coming to the UK? Having your metadata ever ready would be able to decipher whether there is any value to you coming to the UK in terms of your fan base, how you can market to the UK, what, scheduling tours in the cities that matter to you, because the UK is vast and some cities and some areas, they just won't necessarily be engaging with your music. So you can really use metadata to analyze those things and drill down where you're supposed to be, where's going to be most fruitful for you. If you need to build your audience up more, then you can analyze your data to do that for you as well. So, I mean, a big part of what they've been discussed is about exporting talent. It's an expensive venture if you don't know what you're doing. And so I would encourage artists, writers, etc., to do that. Well, and just one final point on publishing. That's another big area that's quite grey to a lot of writers, who hold their writing a bit too precious and don't realize they could be making money while they sleep. If they just were writing to, writing with the right persons, having the right person sing your song, But of course, making sure that your metadata is so tight that that revenue is coming back to you. So yeah, I mean, those are the main areas I would say, encouraging them to become members of the PROs necessary, to link with metadata specialists, and to use that data to gain value as to where you should be touring, how you can market your music to your audience, and how you can use that to link with writers. So you can really get your publishing up, your sync up, all those other areas that you could be making money while you sleep.
Right. So, I mean, there's absolute value in collecting that data, so you can have the right sort of information about who is being onboarded to the GMIA, what demographic, etc., etc. Right. So that's really good, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that. So I want to move on quickly to Cleon. Cleon is a music producer from Trinidad and Tobago. He's worked with many of the biggest brands in the country. So just wanted to ask you, Cleon, in your process, in creating and working with many artists, what is the value of metadata for you as a music producer?
Well, there's a lot of value in the metadata, because that's how we ensure that the cuts and what we've negotiated is implemented. Because when you go to sites, when you're uploading the songs, like DistroKid, they will say, all right, it's this amount of splits and that and whatnot. So it's absolutely crucial that we get all of the information right, because every piece of music that I do, and I have an agreement with someone, it's a potential money earner for me as well. It's not just the singer. As we partner together, there's money to be made. And on another level, on the local level of just inputting the metadata for the DJs, knowing the right BPM, knowing the key, and them knowing the type of mood and whatnot, it helps them when they are going to select songs. So they know, hey, that song came from Cleon, all the metadata is in there already. I don't have to run it through to be analyzed or anything like that. It's already there. I know what I can use that song for. And I can embed the metadata with my contact information, with the information for the artist as well. All of that can seek to generate revenue. Persons are like, oh, I like that song, I need to get in contact with this person. It's easy. So it's just a way of making things simpler. It's because of the agreements I make with different artists, and that we get the splits right, get the right metadata inside there. We agree it's there. The companies have it, and then we have our TT ISRC codes as well to ensure that's done properly. And fostering great relationships with the local DJs and DJs overseas, because they want to do things as quickly as possible. They don't want to be thinking, oh, I wonder if this BPM, if this song will work with this set that I'm going to do and whatnot. You have the information there. Once your information is there, then it's easily used. But if it's not, then you're not a potential option.
Yeah, and that just not having that information is so like it's a difference between getting the money that needs to flow through to you or your label or your publisher or your music company and not. Just one little piece of information is missing. So that's really, really vital. Want to move on to Oh, are you guys hearing me now? Sorry, been talking away and nobody's hearing me. Right. So yeah, what I was saying is that that's really vital information that Cleon just dropped there, because metadata is such a thing that if one piece of information is missing, it makes a difference between being paid or not, because just one little piece of information is missing, right? That's why it's so important. It informs, it gives so much information. And basically, when you put your music out there, when you put your data out there, you're telling the music business where to send the revenue that this song is generated. If the music business doesn't have this information, then they can't accurately pay you. All right. So it's very, very, very important. And with that said, I want to move on to Bella, who is a social media entrepreneur, fitness entrepreneur. She's very active on social media, etc. And I met her through social media because she's so active. She does so much. It's so creative. A lot of it is so hilarious and funny. You're just attracted to her. So I just wanted to get some insight from her on how she uses data or metadata, or how she uses social media to make informed decisions for her brand and connect with her audience.
Hi, everyone. Pleasure to be here. What I can say is I'm not the expert in metadata like you guys, but I do pay very close attention to how I use my social media. And when I learned about this event, I thought it was a great opportunity to just give some feedback on things that I've learned and I've seen, one as a music lover, as an entertainment lover myself, and just me as a listener and as a user as well of the tools that is available to the industry, right? And what I've learned over the years, for me in particular, is social media is such a powerful tool now that it changed the game in terms of how we market ourselves and how we market anything, any type of content. And what's really important about social media now in this day and age, in right now, is understanding how to use social media and the tools that are available properly, and understanding what is trending and how, like for example, reels, Instagram reels is a thing. A lot of the time I would see, and I've worked with some artists as well in terms of guiding them on how to use social media. And a lot of the times I would have seen a traditional approach to their marketing, reaching out to people individually. But to me, as a listener, I've learned that people follow me because of who I am and me as a brand, right? So I use my social media to connect with people. I personally respond to people. I say their name when I'm speaking to them, because people follow your content because they like you, the person, you, the individual. They want to know who you are. You know, you can have the best song or the best content, the best brand in the world, but if they don't know who you are and they don't connect to you as a person, then you're going to lose out hugely, because it's not relatable enough for someone to say, let me go out and purchase this album, or whatever you're putting on, whatever content you're putting on social media. So understanding what's trending, like TikTok and reels, and what social media tools and the new tools that are always evolving and being launched on all different platforms. Each platform is different as well. Understanding how to use that has positioned me very well for my brand, and it has linked me with a lot of brands. That's how I met Keith, through Clubhouse, and understanding that Clubhouse was trending at that time and utilizing it properly, and making people see me, who I am, Bella the person, has really impacted my social media. And that's my tip, and that's my advice to anyone that wants to put their content out in the open. You have to make it relatable and connect to people, and they have to see you for you, and they will, the revenue, the data, the statistics will come, because they know you, they want you.
Do you use like Instagram analytics or anything like that to
I
see?
do.
Can you just kind of talk quickly about how you use
Yeah.
that?
So on Instagram, if you guys don't know where to go, you go into your insights and you can see what data in terms of when you are posting, when you have the most results and impressions from your posts on Instagram. You can see the type of following you have. So for me, for example, um, I have a consistent woman female following, and they respond on my social media to things about fitness or dancing or anything else that I'm doing, and they relate to that. So when I'm planning my content, I will plan my content that is relatable to that audience. I also have a large male following, so I also know from time to time I do have to put out content there that my male following will appreciate and like, and that in turn generates more impressions. And my you would see my Instagram profile will just start to grow organically because I'm now utilizing what I see in terms of trends from my insights to connect with my audience. And then Instagram, for example, pays attention to that, and organically your profile will start to grow from that.
That's fantastic because you kind of asked me when I asked you to come on, like, hey, Keith, you think I'm gonna be relevant here? I'm like, absolutely, because I
Yeah,
don't
I
even know
wasn't
all of
sure.
that stuff. I don't. I put stuff out there, but I'm focused on so many other things. I don't even have time to look at analytics. So it's really good to hear that feedback from you and how it's used to help you. So we're going to come back to you and talk about that a little bit more. Finally, we got Miss Sonia Norwood on. So glad to see you, Sonia. Really apologize for the technical difficulties there. I don't know what was happening. But we've got Sonia Norwood here, entertainment manager for music, TV, and film, and is also the mother of Brandy and Ray J. Everybody in Trinidad knows who these guys are or should know. So happy to have you, Sonia. Really glad that you accepted to come on board and just talk with us for a little short while. I know you have to run. So my question to you is, why do you think it's important to educate artists and songwriters, etc., about metadata?
Well, I want to first start. Hello to everyone, and I'm just so happy to be here. Thank you for having me and asking me to come. And I want to start off by saying that education everywhere is important, and particularly in the music industry, because there are two parts to the industry. There's the show part, and then there's the business part. And most of the time, the artists are always the creative side of it, and they are very interested in just being creative. And then they allow other people most of the time to take care of their business, or their business is just not handled. And I will say, for 25 years being in the business, I would say information is important, and asking the right questions and getting educated is the right way to go about. However, when you really think about the in-depthness of where an artist's creativity is, it's very hard for them to understand the importance of not necessarily trusting people to take care of your business. And so I can speak from experience with all of the records and that Brandy has released, and all of the records that Ray J has released, and with his tech company, all of those things, and other people that I've worked with, I've very seldom heard the word metadata. It's like you do your part, you do your creative, you go in the studio, you create, you do your photo shoots, you go out there, you work the record. But you really didn't ask the real question about one of the most important pieces of information that you can ask that will have an effect on your life today and your life after your life and for generations to come. So I think that it's time for artists to take a minute or two and step back and begin to realize what are the most important parts of their career. It's almost is similar to, would you say your social security number is important? Would you say your birth certificate, the accuracy of your birth certificate is important? And if you think those particular elements are your passport, having the wrong country on it when you think that the right country is there to find, when you get to the agent, you got the wrong country. I can say when you have those particular items in mind, if those items are important to you, because it identifies you, then in music, metadata is the identifier of your music, of your creative, of your product. It is the imprint. It is the end all to everything to make sure that you arrive at the destination of receiving all of the royalties that belongs to you. And especially if you have masters, but even if you didn't own the masters, you still want to make sure your metadata is correct. So I think it's terribly important that we first understand the word metadata and what it means. And then we go back and we begin to look at what we have done over our careers to see if that was done correctly. And just know that there are funds and monies and royalties out there for you because it's incorrect information done. And so that's why I think it's important. But I think overall in the entertainment industry, artists needs to just take a step back and begin to understand the business of it. Their contracts, they don't really pay attention to the fine print of the contract. They basically leave that to their lawyer, their business manager. They don't bother to read. They don't bother to even want to listen. And all of those things are important because when the show days are over and you're no longer performing or in a situation as we are in COVID, performances are not readily available today. So you need to make sure that your business is done correctly too. And a lot of artists missed out on that.
So lots of great nuggets there. I mean, I wish I could have you for the whole hour, but since you made this this point about really educating yourself about that, once someone is educated on the metadata, what do you think is the next immediate step?
Well, I think the next immediate step is to get in contact with those experts that knows how to handle and research and dig, because there's a certain passion that people who work your metadata, there has to be a certain passion for those people who do not consider your metadata to be just information. They should want to be able to help you line up all of your valuable information and put it in a spreadsheet that truly identifies who you are. So I don't think that you can just decide that you see a company that has the name metadata on it and then you run there. I think what you have to do is you have to search out individuals such as yourself and such as Chester and me in training to really have passion about how we care for you as a person and how we care for your information. Because at the end of the day, it's how we make your life better. It's changing your life and changing your information and making sure that when it goes through the system, it is accurate and you won't have to worry about that again unless you run into somebody who wants to influence you that they can do better, which most of the time that won't happen.
That is such a critical point, because the music business can be very doggy dog, right? They don't really care.
Vicious.
You do stuff, you put stuff together, and then it's you have to fight. So your point about us really caring, the metadata people, we really care about fixing your data.
Yeah.
The data is so broken that we can look on the back end and see, oh my gosh, you've got X amount of dollars here that you've never connected. Why? Oh, we realize your name is spelled wrong. Just by your name being spelled wrong, or the splits information is wrong, or they spelled your publisher wrong. Something's wrong somewhere that's causing a blockage for the money to flow through to you.
Right.
So I love your point about us. It's not just about getting you the money, or that's really important, but we care about helping you and fixing this problem for you.
Yeah, it's a permanent type of fix. It's like when you in the business, you're not going to find a lot of people that really have the passion to care. That's what I'm finding. I've been here for 25 years. I have 2 successful children in the industry. I'm a female. I'm Black. It hasn't been a real great journey for me, but it's been an educational journey for me, one that I've been able to use to help other people as well. And what I say is that artists must now, even in the trendy stages of the digital world, and even in the fast pace of moving and, you know, trying to hurry up, and your attention span is so short, your business contracts are 20 and 30 pages long in some cases. Your business contracts will have terms, conditions, and options that are not suitable for you, that are not in your advantage. Yet you're allowing other people to look at those contracts without you asking any questions. You don't bother to ask the term date, the termination part. You don't bother to ask what I'm giving up. You don't ask those questions in fear. Some are in fear that, you know, if I ask those questions, I'm going to lose the deal. Well, you may as well lose the deal if you don't have any royalties at the end of the day. And if people are taking 3/4 of your money at the end of the day, and you're out there doing the show part, but you're not doing the business part. It's like, we must wake up and we must understand that it's no need of having social media. It's no need of doing performances. It's no need of doing a TV show just so you can recognize who I am, when at the end of the day, I have no lifestyle. I can't pay my rent. You get what I'm saying? So the business of it, even down to the metadata part, this is not a new word. The metadata is not a new business. What it is just becoming more recognizable, because people are going and saying, what happened to my royalties? Where are my royalties? Where do I find my royalties? And now we're beginning to understand the process, that metadata is important, but it's also how it's done, it's how it's cared for, and it's how it's going to set you up for the future. And you can still find a metadata service, but it doesn't mean that they're going to give you the metadata treatment.
Thank you so much, Sonia. I know you have to run. You have a very important appointment. Any just final parting words for artists out there, just from your 25 years experience and, you know, through your successful kids, Brandy and Ray J, anything that you can share, any nugget before you run off?
Well, I want to say that I want to encourage you to continue to strive to reach your goal. I want to say that all things are possible. And I want to encourage you to invest in yourself. Do your training, get your coaching, go get your acting skills. If you want to act, go to this workshop, invest in yourself. Don't depend on someone else to invest in you. Be prepared and be ready when opportunity meets success. And at the same time, dab into your business and understand that you can't allow someone else to take care of your business and then blame them because you didn't get involved later on. It's really all not simple, but it is simple. And I just think that we're going to have a great music industry with all kind of different things happening over the next few years. And metadata is going to be right in the center. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Sonia. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming through. I know it was a bit of a push, but I hope one day you can come to Trinidad and eat some doubles and drink some coconut water and go on the beach. So thank you so much. Be safe.
I would love to.
And we will see you soon. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Right. So that was Sonia, guys. She really came through. I mean, I told her about this conference happening in Trinidad. I said, would you like to be a part? She's like, oh my gosh, yes. She was like, immediately she wanted to be part of the conference. So glad she came through. But she has to run off to another appointment. So let's move on. We're going to talk to Chester Wilkins now. He's ISRC, UPC manager, industry veteran, coder, just everything. I mean, this guy has worked with some of your favorite artists like Chance the Rapper and G Herbo and Waka Flocka, all you hip-hop artists out there. He's worked with everybody. So Chester, I just want to start by asking you, what as an ISRC manager, what are some of the issues that you are seeing in the music business as it relates to metadata? I know that's a very broad question, so you can answer it any way you feel to answer it, right? Like, what are some of the main issues with metadata as an ISRC UPC manager?
Before I answer that question, first thing I gotta say, I'm Chester Wilkins, and I do thank and appreciate for even being here. RVRB experience, pleasure, Caribbean. Big up yourself. I'm from the Caribbean, so they always say never forget where you come from. So I definitely gotta big up the Caribbean, big up the class of '97. That's me. I do what I do. You asked me a broad question on ISRC. I'm an ISRC manager and also GS1 certified. What we do, what our company do is we make sure whatever goes into the metadata system is accurate 99%, where you can get your money. The question that you asked is, what are the issues and what are the problems that are being faced? We've been having issues. We've been having problems. It's okay. Now what we have to do is fix the problems. A lot of albums that's been in the past, a lot of albums that's been put out there digitally in the digital era, a lot of albums that's been now put out now, I would say 90, I would say 90% of most of the work that's been put out there, some of them are putting out there the wrong way because of the metadata. The metadata, if it's not curated right, or if the information is not put in the metadata right, you're gonna have issues like the issues that we're having right now with a lot of artists, having issues getting their mechanicals, having issues getting their money because of the metadata. So when you ask me a question, it's a broad question. It could go many different ways because metadata, there's so many different types of metadata. But when it comes to curating a metadata in the music industry, there's certain information that needs to be curated into the metadata so that the artist, the label, the company, I would say investors, people who invest in the company, you can see things more bright. You can see things where it could be monitorized. It could be checked. You can know what's going on. So to just sum it up, the problems that I see right now is we have a lot of people that needs to be educated on moving forward on the digital aspect of the music industry. A lot of us are not educated. It's okay. You just got to reset your mind. Times have changed. So in the Caribbean, we have a lot of artists. We have a lot of companies. We have a lot of labels. We have a lot of culture. Culture is big. A lot of people use culture and put it in society. But stop putting your culture information in society and it's not being protected. So in the metadata world, what we do is we protect your intellectual property before it goes out there to the media, to the masses.
So I know that you are a specialist of specialists when it comes to metadata, and you are a coder. Not many people understand that process and what that's about, or even that's a thing, right? What is coding, and I'll say it this way. As a coder, what are you doing to the music? What are you ensuring that's being implemented into the music via your coding process?
The coding process that we do, we make sure 99% of everything that you put into the metadata is accurate and is correct. We make sure that whatever you send to our company, we check it out accurate 100%. We're not like other companies that don't check. And we're not all the way digital. Everything is by hands. Metadata, for you to accrue a metadata, it has to be done by hands. You cannot do it by the computer. I don't care whatever somebody tells you, whatever company you go to, or whatever system is set up. When you sign up a curation of a metadata, you have the information of the whole track. Then when it comes to somebody like us, what we do, we create a birth paper for that track. So that track is broken down in so many different ways where one track can make you close to over $1 million+. But if the metadata is not, right, if the codes are not put in accurate right, if it goes out there on certain platforms, like I heard, the guy talking about DistroKid, he's talking about all these digital distribution platforms. But if your metadata is not put into the application right, you're going to have a lot of issues getting your residuals and your money. Now let's go back on the coding side. Yes, I am a coder. I became a coder since 2008. On the coding part, I know a lot of you see barcodes. You know, I mean, I'm trying to pick up any product in front of me right now. You know, I'll just pick up any product. Let me see. This product right there, it's a Yale product made from the Caribbean too, castor oil. So there's a barcode behind this product. Okay, what we do as a barcoder, I put your information into this barcode. That means that if it goes to be sold into a store, it goes to be sold on the internet, it could be trackable and it's 100% yours where you could see it all the way. What we do with our company as a coder, I'm also an ISRC manager, International Recording Standard of Coding of Music, and also work alongside the RIAA, deals with the federal government and deals with music on, when you talk about Library of Congress of Music, what we do is that we make sure whatever metadata that's curated, we take your song, we send you and get your license, you come back to us, and what we do, we create a birth paper information. The information that comes from the metadata curation, what we do is that we take the name, the title, the minutes of the song. You know, I know you see hashtags. We hashtag your name.
Genre, label.
Yeah, genre, label. All these information when you go to like the Apples and the DistroKid, that little format you see when you go in there to Amazon, that is part of being inside of a metadata. If this part is not all the way put in right, when it comes to claim mechanical royalties, or when it comes to claim certain parts of publishing, or when it comes to doing admins, if that metadata is not right, there's going to be problems where it's going to be NA, non-active. And I know a lot of you all, if you are doing your, putting your music out there in the world, and whoever is doing claim for your music, I know a lot of you all see NAs. NA is considered non-active. When is an NA, that means that we cannot pay you. We cannot find you in the system. And there's been a lot of problems in the Caribbean globally. A lot of us put music on the digital system. If your music is not coded right, if your stuff is not in place right, you're gonna have issues getting all your residual income. And that's been the problem. So on the coding side again, what we do as a coder, I take your music and we put it into the ISRC, the UPC code, so it could be ready to be incurated into the metadata. So when it goes out there, then all the problems we've been having for split sheets, all the problems we've been having for paying producers, all the problems we've been having on making sure everybody get their percentages right on the track could be fixed. If this is not fixed, we're gonna be having a lot of issues like we're doing right now.
Can you speak on relating to that GS1?
GS1 is the global language, I would say the global language of the world, where is the company, only company in the world, trust company in the world, and we have different areas in the world where you can go and get your barcode. When you go to GS1, GS1 gives you a certification. When you get the certification, that you bring it to somebody like us, and we also run the solution department for the music in GS1. So all the UPC codes and all the barcodes that come to our department, what we do is that we send you as the consumer, as the client, we send you and get a license. GS1 is another license that you need when you want to code your music to put into the metadata the right way. GS1 deals with UPC code, Universal Product Code, the same barcode that I just showed you. Think about putting the barcode with the ISRC code. If you can join both of them together, which our company does, once you bring them together, then it gives you 100% accuracy. First of all, the licensing, you own it. Second, the label. Fourth, it can show all the information pertaining to the track. So when you go into the digital platform and you put your music in the digital platform, for us, Song Exchange, for the different PRO companies, the different mechanicals, the neighboring rights, all the different companies, they have an admin accounts department. If the admin is wrong, there's going to be issues of paying out on the people. And that's why they talk about black box money. Billions of dollars seen all over the internet. Yes, people are going out there. Yes, their songs are going big. Yes, they're all over the internet. But there's one question. How do you receive that money? And a lot of them do not know how to receive the money. And the problem comes with the metadata. So stop putting your music out there and not making sure that your business is together. So moving forward in the Caribbean, there needs to be a gap that needs to be bridged. There's an empty gap right now. We have soca music, we have calypso music, we got kada, soule, pali patois, mosa pali patois too. I can explain both ways. To the guys in the hood, in the street, whatever you're doing. Stop going to the studio and doing your music in the studio without no split shit. Stop putting your music on the internet and not reading the fine prints. Go to, you know, TT, whatever stuff they have in, music, RVRB, come to the stuff, spread the word. Spread the word. And I'm going to say it again, and this comes from me, Chester Wilkins. We have a serious problem with the metadata in the Caribbean that needs to be fixed. If it's not fixed, you're going to be broke. You're not going to make no money, and it's been happening. So let's fix it. I'm from the Caribbean. I'm in the States. I'm fixing it. Why not help the people from the yard to get it done? Why not help the people global? So I'm just saying, now is an opportunity and now is a time. If you're going to put your stuff out there in the world, we're just asking to protect your intellectual property. Protect what is yours. So when it goes on in the internet, digital currency, it builds. There's what they call NFTs. A lot of us go there and we put our stuff out there on NFT blockchain. And that's a whole other world. The Caribbean needs to come up to that if they're not there yet. But if your stuff is protected and your stuff is good in the metadata, because we put NFTs, we put your name in the NFTs in the metadata. So when you go in and you put your stuff in the metadata, it has to have an NFT mark inside of it. Don't let them fool you and put your stuff out there. Because what's going to happen is going to generate money. And when you come to receive your funds, if you cannot show proof, you're not going to get that money. They'll give you pennies on a dollar. That's what's happening right now in the office that we're in. A lot of claims are coming in. A lot of repertoires are wrong. A lot of admins are wrong. A lot of music have different codes. A lot of music have different codes, different names. So we're like, okay, who are we going to pay? I mean, we're not going to pay this guy because he got 5 names on one track. His UPC code is with DistroKid. His ISRC code is to a algorithm. So how can we get this guy $50,000 of royalties? We cannot pay him. So it goes into the black box until you come and fix the metadata, and then you claim the money. And if you, by the law, hopefully you got by November of this year to collect whatever the last couple of years. And if you don't do this by this year, hopefully all the money that's on the internet is going to be, that's it.
I can hear the passion in your voice, and you know, as a metadata guy myself, we get really passionate about this is because we can see what's happening on the back end. We can go in the systems and see, oh my gosh, this person has been doing music, but look at how much money that is sitting here for them, like pennies adding up, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, this, that, the other, that they have never collected. And the issue, there's a really, 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 really big issue in the Caribbean, and all of us on this panel have Caribbean roots, and we really want to help you guys. So what Chester is talking about here is really not just putting your music and your content out there just like that, without knowing if my content that I put out is generating revenue, how do I get that revenue back? And we can guarantee that most of you, 99% of you who are releasing music, putting music out there is money out there, sitting out there that you just never collected. And I know for sure in this current climate of COVID, everybody can do with every single penny that they can collect right now, right? So metadata, I mean, people don't like to talk about it. It's very boring to a lot of people. We get excited about it. My paws raise when I talk about this stuff, right? But it's not exciting. That's the reality. But it's so important to your ownership and to generational wealth, etc. You have to pay attention to it. If you're not really reaping the benefits of your music and your creations, right? So we want you to reach out to us, reach out to myself. I can get you in touch with Chester and help you get your songs coded in the right way, get you licensed up, ISRC extended so that your music can be set correctly. So I just want to come back to Chester for a bit and go to Bella again. I know you guys have been sitting there. There's probably like a lot of information flying out there or whatever. But based on what Chester was saying in terms of really fixing your information, your data, working with your data, can you tell me from your perspective, what do you think are some of the things that local artists or Caribbean artists should be doing a lot more to help them, move their brand forward and export their brand on a global audience?
I would say that I think what local artists need to pay attention to is what your markets that you're trying to reach, your audience, what are they attracted to, right? And align that to that specific point in time. Let's use Carnival, for example. If you're not promoting soca music during the Carnival season, then you're likely to not be, you wouldn't get as much impressions from that piece of content, right? So you really have to pay attention to what the people, what your listeners are attracted to at that point in time, what's trending at that point in time, and use that to your advantage. I'll use an example where a lot of new artists actually message me on social media when they release new songs, and they send me their YouTube link and say, hey, can you share this song for me? Or can you take a listen and use this song in your class? But a lot of the times I can't use it because it's not applicable to that time. It's not applicable to what's happening currently in the country, in the states, and with people. You really have to think about making yourself relatable to your audience all of the time and connect with them apart from the music. Connect with them with your lyrics, connect with them as a person.
Outside of what you do.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes social media can get so intense. Like, there are times that I get so frustrated because I'm always doing content and it just becomes about being content, and your audience sees when you're just pushing content and it's no longer personal. It's no longer you being
Organic.
you. Exactly. It's no longer organic. They see it. They can see that plastic feel of your content. So you have to constantly remind yourself that my audience are people just like me. And what is going to be something that they're attracted to right now, and use that to your advantage to connect with people and to push your content out there.
Man, that is such great nuggets right there. And it's just, as I'm not a content person and social media person, so like a lot of what you're saying there, like I don't even think about it like that, right? I see a lot of content going out there, but there's so many other things you got to think about. And I love what you said about, you might be a musician, but show another part of you, show other sides of you, show different things so that people can see that you're human, you're normal, right?
Yeah, exactly. Another example I would use is, a lot of the time the content that trends the most for me and my followers is when I share something personal that I am going through. So I had a bad day, or I posted something and it didn't do well, or I started a venture and it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. And people actually start to reach out to me and talk to me. And from that, they actually go to my website, they actually go check out my content, they go check out my gear, they make purchases. And it's because they felt like if they know me, even though they don't at all.
I really understand that, and that's why I resonate with your content, because a lot of it was funny. social media for me a lot of times is like to get away from what I do and just look at funny stuff, and then you do some funny stuff. It's like, this is hilarious. So so that resonated with me, right? So Cleon, we're talking about the metadata and the content and getting it right and all that. But as musicians and as creators, your content still has to be really good, right? It still has to be of a certain standard. It still has to resonate with people so when you listen to it on your iPod or your whatever, it's pleasing to you. Can you speak on that aspect of creating quality music and mixing it right and getting it right and all that kind of stuff? Can you just speak on generally about that?
Yeah, well, Keith, it starts with a great song. And I tell persons this all the time. It starts with a great song. You can have a horribly mixed song, but the song is very strong and it's going to do well. But if you have a poor song that doesn't resonate with persons in the first place, this is the initial piece of content that you're putting out there that you want to monetize. If it's not good in and of itself, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. And I tell persons, if I can't listen to your song as an a cappella track or with just piano or with just guitar and it's not making an impression on me, then there's a problem. The power of the melody, the power of the words, the power of relatability, believability. So it starts with that. And then when you have a great song and you let other persons listen to it and whatnot, then you consider going to the studio and whatnot and taking into consideration, okay, we're doing it and we're doing it right. And there are certain standards that are out there. Now, iTunes and Apple is pushing this whole thing about spatial audio and Dolby Atmos and all of those things. So persons now have to think, okay, how am I going to deliver my content in that format, right? And if I want it placed, if I'm thinking, hey, this song, I want it placed in a movie or music video and whatnot like that, then you have to seriously think about future proofing. I mean, if you're not thinking about future proofing in terms of what frequency you're recording at, if you can record at the highest frequency possible so that down the road, when they get more accustomed to lossless content and putting it at 96 and even 192, I don't know if they'll go up there, but if you're doing stuff at 96 kilohertz and whatnot, you're recording it at a great quality and you're getting it mixed and mastered properly, then you've covered everything from having a strong song, great melody, everything. It's recorded properly, it's mixed properly, and even in mixing, make sure that you compare your work to top 100 Billboard content, right? I do that all the time when persons say, "Oh, I'd like you to hear my song." I listen to the song and then I go on, I type in 100 Billboard for the week. All right, let me listen. And sometimes there's such a disparity in the quality. I'm like, you have to recognize your work is going out and a lot of persons are going to consume your work for the first time on YouTube, right? If they're not on Spotify or Apple, they're going to go on YouTube. So when they could have listened to one of their favorite songs and then they go to yours and they're like, okay, something isn't right. I'm not hearing the kick and the bass. It's not feeling right. And they go and they play another song and they're like, oh, yes, this feels right. And then they go back to your song and they're like, something just isn't right. You have to understand that there are standards and you're pushing towards excellence. Besides being a music producer, I also get the privilege of being a beta tester for different companies, software and hardware companies for music. So I test out headphones and lots of software for music production and whatnot. And I get access when we are going through the beta testing stage. I get access to lots of persons with a wealth of knowledge. The person who mixes for Sting and all types of different persons. So it makes me better as I attack my craft and make the proper linkages. You need to have persons who are better than you so that you can push hard and become better as a person and go towards the standards. Because for me personally, I grew up, I'm originally from St. Kitts, and then I went to Barbados for a while, and then I'm now in Trinidad, and I'm also British like you, Keith. All right, so I have that big mix up, but I've been exposed to different quality of music, and I love skillful playing. And a lot of persons are just content with, I think sometimes just doing the bare minimum and expecting a great things to happen for them. And you have to push. There are how many millions of songs that are being released every month, right? And persons don't know who you are. So make sure that you craft it. And as Chester said, if you don't take care of your business side, why are you going to be pushing? Oh, well, I just want to hear my song on the radio. All right. So you just want a little play on the radio, not recognizing that there's systems set up for you to monetize that while you're sleeping, while it's being played on YouTube and whatnot, right? Because if you're not monetizing it, somebody else will watch that and say, I can use that and I can get that money from your hard work.
That's great insight there. And Cleon, you always talk about, when it comes to mixing, you can't have the same mix for iTunes that you have for YouTube, that you have for radio, that you have for TV.
Well, I mean, that's the totally different. that comes into mastering and the different standards, and you put your song up on YouTube, and the YouTube algorithm is going to crush your music if it's not set properly from the mastering stage. So you have to know what you're about and get educated. You have to educate yourself. I've been in too many situations where I try to educate persons along a certain road, and they're like, no, I'm going in. And then afterwards, when they're about to release their album or something, well, I uploaded it to iTunes and I didn't quite like how it sounded, or I uploaded it on YouTube and I didn't like, and I'm like, I told you this months ago, but you didn't take me on. We are here to help. There are persons who genuinely just want to make things better and to help you. But if you are just myopic, if you're just one-track mind, I want to do it on myself, by myself and whatnot, then you're not going to be elevated. As I said, because of my beta testing experience and whatnot, I get access to CEOs of certain companies and software that has not been released, so that when I get virtual choirs to do, it takes me less time than other persons because I have advanced software, right? Because I've made the linkages, because I wanted to dive more. And I reach out to CEOs of companies all the time. And you would be surprised how easy they would be like, okay, you develop a rapport and they recognize, oh, you want to contribute to my company? I want you now in my inner circle, right? So that's what it's about. You have to think in terms of the standards out there, make your relationships, try and see what the standards are. And I'll take an example. This whole thing where they had these interviews with like the minister, with Trevor Noah and whatnot. And you looked at when they would have clips, even on CNN, they would have clips from our local television stations. And you have to when you compare the clips of all local television stations as opposed to what it looks like for Trevor Noah and Stephen Colbert and whatnot, you're like, it just doesn't look as good as what they have there. And we need to push for better. And it comes down to mixing as well. When you're comparing, hey, that doesn't sound right. That kick hits me a different way. My kick is sounding flabby. What's wrong? I need to do my research. I need to reach out to other persons who can steer me in the right direction. There's always a teachable moment. We just have to be willing to learn.
Thank you so much, Cleon. I mean, there's so much in there. And I know, I don't like to just say, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do better. Okay, how do I now get to do that, right? So Audrey, I know you're currently running the Gospel Music Industry Alliance of London. That's a massive job. And you're connected not just in London, but across Europe. Mm-hmm. What are some of the programs and practical things that you're doing to help artists now implement some of these things? Because when we talk about these things, you're talking about funding, and I got to pay for this, I got to pay for that. I don't have the money. So what are some of the things that you're doing as a CEO over there to kind of help artists along the way?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it is anything service that we want to deliver to, the community. People need to be a member of the organization to enable to access that, and that commitment is, for a lot of artists, or is really apparently hard to do, but it should be quite obvious. If you want to be able to reap the benefit of any new program or training that we're delivering, if you're a member, you're going to receive it first. That's what's going to happen. And by the same token, when you come to us and asking, we need money to do, as Cleon said, better sound engineering, better mixing, etc. When we want to make a case to organizations to say, look, these are the people, these are our members, this is what they need. This is what London is crying out for. They need better people mixing and mastering, because that's why they say they're not releasing music on a level that is commercially viable, for example. When we want to make those cases, then we have to come with those numbers, because data, again, we're right back to data. Data is king. So we've got to show those numbers. And I'm sure if I put out a notice to say who wants some free studio time, everybody put their hand up. But I need you to join, so I know where you are. So I can say that, right, we've got X amount of people. We need to apply for, 15K to get 100 hours of studio time for each member, or whatever the case is. So I think there's a commitment that we need to engage in more. And we seem to be I think what I'm getting out of this as well, we're very creatively committed, but not business committed. And I often consult with artists, and I let them know that you don't have a music career, you have a hobby. If you're doing something and you're not investing in it for commercial viability or any form of sustainability, what you have is a hobby, something that you do really well and that people enjoy, but they're going to receive it as a hobby. If you do not set yourself up as a business, that's when you'll end up getting a patty and a soft drink. It's not that they want to disrespect you. The fact remains is you came in a certain manner and they received you in that certain manner, and they thought that was okay. Do you know what I mean? So why should I pay you? This is what you like to do. That becomes the attitude. And people need to set themselves up in a business format. They need to follow best practices. They need to have a booking form. Just have an online booking form, folks. It's like no big deal. It's decency and order. We need to know when don't send an email saying, because the general public don't know. They send an email saying, could you come and sing at my church? Do I know where your church is? What day are you talking about? Where is this happening? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, I'd love to help you, but I can't. So if you have your systems in place, then those things become easier. Same thing with your data. People joining PRS, our PRO here locally. Oh, my royalties aren't coming through. Are you a member of PRS? No. It's like, how do you expect to receive money when you didn't open the bank account? I don't get it. It's simple things. It's simple things. I toured an artist that I told him for years, you need to become a member of PRS. I don't even know if he's a member of PRS or now. And he's like, YouTube hits went over 1 million, etc. That's scary for managers that come to work with those artists, because they blame the managers after that. But really, the onus is on you, so that was my rant. I love what Brandy's mum said about the birth certificate and the passport analogy, because that is actually where it's at. That's something that I use, that, your song registration is the birth certificate for your song. It explains who was in the room when the baby was made. Okay, who is the mummy? who is the daddy for the song, and the passport is the metadata. So now if you're taking the wrong details from your birth certificate to the Home Office to apply for your passport's going to be wrong. You know, so you've got something that's bona fide and official, but it's wrong. It's wrong, so you can't really expect to receive anything from it. So it's detail. It's boring detail for them, but they need to get with it. And
Chester, I see you shaking your head there. You want to chime in on that?
He's having a laugh at my expense, Chester.
I'm happy all this is coming, you know. Everything is in divine time. You feel me? Yeah. And I like that the team that you allocated on this panel, everybody that speaks of genuine from what they do and what's going on. So my thing is more just trying to figure out how we are, where we at, and the experience that we have. How are we gonna how can I say, put whatever our efforts, you feel me? Because obviously the Caribbean there's some issues in the Caribbean. So with our knowledge and with our experience, are we gonna thinking of coming together or thinking of, I'm gonna use the word again, bridging the gap? Because now we have somewhere like her that's up in the UK, and a lot of artists, especially in the Caribbean, when it comes for funding, there's an issue with funding. And if you're like she said, if your paperwork is together, if your data is put in place, if your birth paper is put in place, if first impression is the last. If you approach somewhere like her, or if you come with all your stuff the right way, then I think there should be a room for, you know, for at least for something to happen, where you can have more trust, you can believe in them, where, you know, you can give them whatever funding they're looking for if everything is up to what it needs to be. So I'm just there shaking my head like, whoa, how? In my head, I'm thinking like, okay, we're in the Caribbean, okay, you in the UK, but then in the Caribbean is not only just the business part. What about the people that surround the business? They also got educated. They also got to reset their mind, because a lot of things, and I'm gonna use that word, and I'll use the word changed, have evolved. So I'm speaking a different language too. Tout moun ki de ou la, sou ka fe musique, ezo ka mette musique de ou, make sure musique la c'est bon. Pa mette bagay la de ou pou moun pou po bagay zo. Yo ka po bagay zo a lot pays. Yo ka po bagay zo a other place. Because zo pa connect. So mo ka di zo ni moun la ki willing pou wende zo. So fais ça on pour faire. So I'm going to say it again. We have people here on this call who can help bridge the gap to help a lot of Trinidad artists. And also, I didn't tell you, I played steel pan when I went to high school. So I understand steel pan. I played in an orchestra. So I come from the steel pan world. So when he come in and said Trinidad, I was like, okay, speaking Antigua, okay, I'll do Trinidad, because I understand the roots of the music that comes from Trinidad. Trinidad is known for a pan island. Bling, 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 bling. But there's a lot of its instruments. And it's a lot instrument, it still comes under you. Don't get it twisted. You still consider an entertainer. You still consider an artist, because you producing what you're producing. But this is what is happening right now. For all the Calypsonians, I'm sorry to say King Sparrow, sorry to say, I want to say Benji, all of them, I'm going to be upfront with you. When we look at what's going on with Caribbean artists, and we see how people from the overseas are using the intellectual property and making money, that's wrong. What we are saying is, let's come together. Let's work with the right set of people. Let's offer certain services that can enhance and bridge the different islands in the Caribbean, instead of leaving them out their limbo. If we can go to island, if we could do a speaking workshop, let's create certain synergy where we can show them the difference in the changes. Things are different now. It's not like how it used to be before. You have to be willing to accept the change in the music industry. It goes for everybody out there. If you do your business right, you will win.
Yeah, and I know you're out there in Beverly Hills in your office, and you're working with a ton of artists out there, man, and a ton of catalogs. And I know you've told me that, you know, there's a big problem in the Caribbean, but there's also problems out there in America and all over the other parts of the world. So can you talk about that and what some of those artists are doing to fix their catalogs?
Some of the problems that, man, a lot of people are angry. A lot of people are happy. A lot of people are trying to fix these situations. And we're dealing with a lot of estates, which a lot of people have passed on or died. We need to fix the problem. The problem is getting fixed, but it's not being fixed in the Caribbean. Europe are now catching on to what's going on in America. In America, right now, a lot of the big artists you see right now, they come right and sit in my office right there. I sit down and talk to them every day. A lot of artists have signed to a lot of major labels. The music got put out there. But you as an artist, you have a lawyer, you have a manager, you have a team that's supposed to be at least giving you great advice, teaching you, educating you. Don't be, I don't use the words rich out of fame. That up there is different than with this right now. We have a lot of new young artists who are making a lot of money. We have different types of major artists. You have indie, major, and you got independent people. I'm just saying to you, a lot of them are changing the way they proceed and they put their music out there. A lot of them are putting music out there. A lot of them having issues getting their money. So now what they're doing, they're getting their ISRCs, the GSS1, they come to us, we fix their catalogs, and we re-put the music out there the right way. So now a lot of our clients are receiving residuals, a lot of our clients are receiving mechanicals, a lot of things are going right now. We're not advertising, we're not out there promoting. You have to read. If you read in certain music industry books, you will catch our information on there. So that question you ask is, they change. Some of them are working. Some of them just like they realize that, well, you know, it wasn't their fault, we didn't know, but let's fix it. So a lot of people, catalogs in America, a lot of artists, they're on the verge of fixing their catalogs to make it better. So we're busy right now. I can't even leave the office.
And you know, I'm really happy for this conference because, you know, it's not a lot of opportunities to highlight data and how to use data and using data on social media and metadata especially. You just don't get a lot of opportunities to do that. So I'm really glad that this is happening. And I want to say to those who are listening out there, if you want to get, if you're an artist and you're creating music and you're on social media, reach out to all of us on the panel. Bella is here, she's on the website, all her information is there. Audrey, her information is on the website. You can reach out to her in London and possibly getting your music over there and collaboration and all that kind of stuff. Cleon Richardson is a fantastic producer in the Caribbean. You want to reach out to him. His information is all there. And in terms of the metadata, which for me, and I'm going to be biased, is the most important part. It's the most important part. If you're not getting that right, you can put up how much music you want and how many times you want. It's just not going to come together. So please reach out to myself. I will connect you with Chester to get your songs coded. That's a very, very, very vital and important step. Essentially, when your songs are coded, the coding is ensuring that the flow of revenues that your music generates is flowing back to you without any blockages, right? So usually if your music, basically, if your music isn't coded right now, the flow of revenues is going like this, right? It's all over the place, and a lot of it isn't getting to you. So what the coding does is make sure that that funnel, it comes straight to you, no matter where you are, no matter who you are. That coding process that he does is ensuring that it comes all to you. So if you want to have that done, or you should be thinking about doing that, please get in contact with me. You can contact MusicTT, and they can put you onto me, and we can help you guys with that. And please, if you have friends and colleagues who are also doing this kind of stuff and they want to have their music coded, let them know about what's happening here. So we have like 5 minutes left. Just want to get like a roundup from everybody, just a little nuggets for artists out there, because I know this is a lot of information, and you're just giving advice and saying you should be doing this and you should and you need to. But sometimes when you do that, people are like, okay, well, where do I start, right? So Bella, from your perspective, from someone who does some hilarious posts on Instagram and stuff like that, and just all the other stuff that you're doing, how should someone like just get started if they didn't know how? What are some of the things that you can tell them to just get started?
Well, I mean, my top tip for anybody with regards to social media is your authentic self is enough. That's where you start. You start with you. Don't overthink it. Don't try to find the perfect way to create content perfectly. There are a lot of content that I've put a lot of work in that did not do well. I had professional videographers. I did professional graphics. The whole works. And then the day that I'm not wearing makeup and I'm not putting as much effort into it, it just went viral. So your authentic self is enough, and that is where you start. You start with you, and you just need to start and put it out there. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much, Bella. I really appreciate you. Please, guys, follow Bella on Instagram. Her social media. In fact, I thought she was from America because it was just like how she was doing everything. It was like this person is hilarious, but very effective. So thank you so much. Really great having you. Audrey, any tips from you for getting started?
Yeah, I want to just repeat that something I always tell artists, that independent doesn't mean alone. So get the right team of people around you. Anybody who's independent, even though they're telling an independent story, they never did it completely by themselves. They had a brethren, they had a mother, a father, somebody who helped them. So, get the right people around you that's going to give you good advice and support you in any way they can. Sometimes they don't have to be fully qualified. You just have to have your head screwed on and be street smart enough to understand that this is what business looks like, and then you go and learn as much as you can about that area. So it's been a great workshop. It's been a really great workshop, and it is like you say, it's like Chester was saying, it's definitely an area that needs to be honed in on. I see Chester's got Dominica flagged there. When I did my tour, I went to Dominica, so the place is so beautiful. So beautiful. And I lived in Trinidad and Tobago for over 12 years. So I know a lot of the thinking and how artists operate in Trinidad, and constantly trying to bring artists here and vice versa. So there's definitely scope to do workshops, etc. We can definitely put a circuit together maybe and do our own sort of Caribbean thing. I'm really pushing for that because that is needed. Okay. Yeah, so independent doesn't mean alone. That's my talk right there.
So MusicTT, guys, we're ready to connect with Audrey in London. There's lots that can happen. Yeah. Let's do it. Chester, final words really quickly. We've got a minute left.
Final word. Thank you, everybody, for being here. For my artists out there, up and coming labels, you have to reset your mind. educate yourself. Please make sure that your metadata, whatever is being curated, please make sure your music is coded. Please make sure that everything you put out there, if you own it, make sure you own it 100%, so that nobody can actually take it away from you. I love you all. I love the Caribbean. We are open. TT, we here. You know, let's merge this. Let's create a whole new generation of wealth. Let's fix culture in the Caribbean. And music is huge in the Caribbean. Music is actually another way of even increasing exportation of tourism. You feel me? Stop taking stuff in all the time. You feel me? Start pushing your stuff out there. We have the whole web. Code your music, make sure your metadata is right, put it out there, and I guarantee you there'll be an increase in not only the way you think, but finance, money. And we'll teach you how to get your money. It's not hard. We just have to educate you. So give us that chance. At least give us Caribbean people. Tout moun Caribbean la. Windows on. Let's help all you. That's what we're there for. I'm Chester Wilkins. I'm here, ISRC, UPC. You know, I'm here, man. Hey, I'm here. I'm here for you. Use me, don't abuse me. But I'm here.
Cleon, final words, really quickly.
Yeah. My final word is there is no substitution for rehearsal from the studio perspective. There's just not any substitution for rehearsal. And excellence should be a normal. Excellence should just be a normal, right? Let's get it right. I echo everything that everyone else is saying. The world is waiting for you. And there are lots of persons out there with less talent sometimes than you who are making so much more money and whatnot just because they took time to learn and move forward. Again, there's no substitute for rehearsal, and don't come to a studio with the mindset of I'm coming to rehearse. Be ready. Be ready, show your greatness, and have a great life. Music is wonderful and exciting.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, MusicTT. Hope to see you guys soon. And we are done. Enjoy the rest of the conference. There's more tomorrow, for the rest of the day, and there's more tomorrow. In fact, if you guys want to log in at 3 o'clock, there's a networking session at 3 o'clock. So if you have time, please log back in and let's meet some of the people. All right. Thank you, guys. See you soon.